Is it any way possible we could live in a crazier world? Hello, Grumpy. Hello, Sharon. All right. That one is an interesting one. Just got a update. My person that I expected to have one yesterday, it was today. I gotta do some diving on that one. All right. Hello, Tree Beard. Hello, Wendy. Hello, Frank. Hello, John. Hello, Flying Squirrel. Please don't challenge them to make it crazier. I trust me on that one. Good morning, Camaro Commando. Hello, Art and Eric. Hello, Jules, RMJ. Hello, Jen and Rita and Robert. Hello, Dragonheart. Hello, Mary. And hello, my Freedom Forge coffee. It is great stuff if you're a coffee connoisseur. Feeling good. Uh, Boy, I don't know, Leroy, what you're trying to say there. Benland? Yeah, I don't know what that is. Hello, Bill. Hello, Mountain Gold. Hello, buddy. Buddy, there have been a lot of celebration videos, and there were in the first day or two, and then many of them got very, very quiet because they were worried about reprisals. There are a number of videos out there. When you go in and do a little deep search, not all of them are current, meaning they were taken from previous times, etc., and then repackaged to send out now. Trying to figure out what's real, what's actual. This is getting interesting. Biz, are your summaries not on Dinar recaps any longer? I don't do them. I have nothing to do with them. The person that does it, PDK or whatever, does a great job when they do them. And I am often too controversial for Dinar recaps. They try to limit anything political. Hello, Jersey girl. Good morning, Mark. Question: do you think that it's all possible the RV won't happen until Israel is exposed and the regime is taken down? I guess it's possible. I'm not hearing anything that far out, but I guess it's possible. Just not anything I'm hearing. I look tired. You okay? I'm just tired. Gary, it's going to be that way for a couple more weeks as I transition to lighter hours and work changes. Yeah, it's the sodium podium that they don't like. So yeah, once again, I have nothing to do with it when they post those guys, and I have zero interest in doing a transcript of my own show. I don't have time to do it, nor the interest, nor would I do it even if I had all those. Figure you can watch it or not watch it. Hello, Jane. Well, let's see. With President Trump increasing U.S. dollar, does this postpone the RV? Your thoughts? No, I don't think it does. I think it's forcing things quicker and quicker. It's all coming together or coming apart at the seams. Let's see. Why is Wallace and A.G. Elson not going to be at a hearing today before Congress? Now they're being allowed not to be there until February 10th. What in the world's wrong with Ruth Ann? I know you don't want to hear it, but there is this crazy thing called the law. This crazy, crazy thing that we adhere to and they don't. So everything's got a process. Hello, Confederate pirate. Salt's good, right? We'd all die without it. Anna, we don't know when it's going to happen. Do I expect it sooner than later? Absolutely. Nobody knows the timing. Anybody that tells you, they're wrong. See, do you think the conflict in the Middle East pushes Iraq to RV financially enable them to defend themselves? Mike, we got so much of that to unpack. Just everybody remember, we are in extreme turbulence. You're not going to be able to figure it out exactly. Guess at it, look at it, study it, follow the patterns, the bigger pictures, and the inevitable destination. Federal Reserve's injecting money left and right, trying to keep this thing afloat. Let's see. Right now, the silver price is at 77. Yesterday evening, got up size 82.50. I think we actually hit 83.10. John, I appreciate you. You look nice and rejuvenated. Isn't that far more positive than all the people telling me I look like shit? I like that, John. Thank you. Let's see, Frank. Boy, I tell you, we've been rebuilding. The U.S. has a total of 410 million barrels of oil and strategic oil reserves out of 714 million. So, yeah, almost over halfway. Mm. That is the strategic political reserve that Biden tapped right before the midterms in 2022, and again tapped them right before the presidential election in hopes that it would make a difference, giving away billions and billions of your dollars to buy your votes. Isn't that kind of crazy? They paid you with your own money. Golden On will shows with Dr. J and Dr. Scott change this year. 100%, absolutely, 1,000,000%. They will change. I already told everybody they were going to change. They're still going to occur. The time of day will change. Tentatively right now, well, I should say Dr. Scott, he's already Thursday afternoons. I mean, excuse me, Thursday in the second half of the segment. What is going to change is you're going to see a lot less of advertisers joining. I know they're all freaking out right now, jumping off the looking for a bridge. Oh my God, you can't reduce me. I got to. It is not personal. It is, I'm going to keel over and die if I don't slow down. Buenos dias, Lalis. Hello, Scoop 2. I like the new name change. These folks should listen to my mother if you don't have anything nice to say. Oh, boy. Thank you. Hello, Krishna. Do I talk to Mr. C throughout the week? Yes, nearly daily, Joseph. He has checked in. He has not been paid. Already back and forth this morning. Yeah, folks, I'd have a tough time figuring out to do with my time if I wasn't so busy. Treebeard, I have no time to do it. I know you guys want me in there, but I just don't. Let's see, Bowler. That's why I cautioned everyone in December, don't jump on the launching pad when January arrives. If for some reason our blessing doesn't arrive in January, you'll avoid a crash. Amen. I mean, it's looking great, guys. The progress we are seeing is stunning. It's overwhelming. The changes, the things that we were told to expect, the re-engineering of the world order, the economic system changing, the metals going up, the bonds, government bonds crashing. Everything you were told to look for is occurring, and you're watching it. We're just upset because we want it faster, and I get it. I want it faster too. It's okay. Even Ned Flanders had his dilly dally moments. Yeah, but Juju, I like that. Thanks. It's been a while since I did my Ned Flanders impersonation. If we order more currency and this goes before I get it, will the wait? Will the then? Yeah, I don't, Shannon. That's they're going to need the currency, and if it's torn, it's okay as long as you have all the pieces. Maybe that answers your question. Hello, Philip. Kathy, this is exactly where we're at. And this is the tough part. Things are going at warp speed so fast we can't keep up. I'm overjoyed with the progress. I am too. I just wish it wasn't so topsy turvy. Yeah, I want to speed it up too. Do I think it'll happen? Yeah, very much think it'll happen before July 4th. I'm surprised we're not already there. And as we watch the funding corridors collapse, where's it going? Tim, that's right. And I did. All right, let's what do we have to talk about this morning? We're already a little behind because I joined a little. Your bond update is the meeting I thought was occurring yesterday was occurring today. So, ask me this evening, I'll have you an update. Really thought I would have it. Fenben, all those over by Ozarks, for Mama, they are, well, I should say government. It's getting difficult to sell those things again, guys. If you want Fenben, Ivor, things like that, hit your source quickly. I like Biozox. My Jedi friend learned how to walk through a wall. Just open the door. All right, let's run. We're going to start with a occurrence that may throw things into overdrive. The U.S. seizes a Russian flagged tanker in the North Atlantic. Now, the flag on this ship has been changing like, well, a clean person changes underwear often and regularly, as they try to avoid sanctions. This is part of that dark fleet. Your U.S. European Command confirmed on X that the Department of Justice and Department of Homeland Security, in coordination with Department of Defense, seized the Russian-flagged oil tanker Marinera, formerly the Bella One, for violating U.S. sanctions. The vessel was seized in the North Atlantic pursuant to a warrant issued by U.S. federal court after being tracked by the USCGC Monroe. Your takeaway, guys, things just went to a whole new level. Probably more meaningful than the capture of Nicolas Maduro. Maduro, big dude. This isn't a passive aggressive proxy war anymore. This is the U.S. openly seizing a Russian flagged ship. Yes, they've been tracking it for some time as it's full of Venezuelan crude. Yes, it's changed its flag a number of times, meaning changing its name, where it's supposed to be flagged to, who owns it. I mean, there's some real shenanigans going on in the dark fleet. This one is big, guys. We are, and there's a lot that goes into this today. We're seeing a massive move of U.S. military forces and special ops teams to the Iraqi-Iranian border as well. Things are, well, let's just go through the news stories, and then we can see what Andy thinks as well, because Andy will be joining us. Russians have sent ships and submarines to the area. We know two nuclear-equipped Russian subs. Rough areas. Things are heating up. 3D chess, 5D, 20D. I mean, at this point, pick one. Thoughts on Delcy Rodriguez taking over from Maduro? She's an evil. Okay, I'm gonna try to say something. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything. I think she's as twisted as him and is trying to cover her own butt and stay in power. It is just ripping. Boy, Joseph, you chase it hard, but when there's no news, there's no news. Ask a million times. It's not going to change. No group news. Oh, wait. Okay, I take that back. I did have one piece of group news. Okay, Joseph, your constant harassment actually helped today. I don't mean that in a bad way. Just saying you're kind of like the kid in the back that asks 5 million times on the way to the grocery store, are we there yet? We're all ready to be there. I am being told that what we're seeing right now from a group level is the Indian groups are being funded and we're next. And that's when they release everything. That's a piece of news I got in the very wee hours last night. So I'm glad you posted something. So I'm glad you said that one because I was going to drop that one. Totally forgot about it with the crazy amount that is coming at me right now. So that was the big one. The other one would be a bond meeting that is today. I thought was yesterday, guys. That was totally 100% on me. My schedule is just off. So there's the news I got on that one. Also, man, there's so much to share right now. We just got to dive in and try to be ready for Andy. It is tough to stay. What's the word I'm looking for here? Coherent in the new. There's so much news coming. It's tough to pull it all together in a way and put that narrative together because we are seeing so many what look like independent or unrelated pieces that are actually very related. So let's go to Iraq. Disarmament or buying time. U.S. report reveals shadow game in Baghdad. How some of the militias are saying, "Yeah, we got no problem. Let's disarm. We'll see you in October. We're going to start collecting everything." In other words, they're saying one thing and doing another is some of the interesting. And the U.S. is saying, "Yeah, no, this isn't going to fly anymore. It may have worked in past regimes, past administrations." But we're consolidating this and a bigger and bigger, or should I say more and more support in the Iraqi government now to rein in the militias. They're not going to let it float. And I think that is the biggest difference. This administration is not going to accept empty promises. They are demanding actual action. And we're seeing this like at every level of the administration right now. Things that we were told to look for. And we're watching them after the market rally. When I say that, I'm talking about in the Nasser Jasser reset piece, etc. As they out bad guys, they remove nefarious folks, they end cartels, they end militias. You're watching those things that we were told to look for after the market rally and the information of intentions to change the exchange rate. Central bank reveals the truth. Some rumors again that they were going to reduce it, not increase it. They're talking about those and they're saying, look, guys, the only reason we saw that spike of the dollar was because the customs are being enforced. We passed the law, I forget, like 9 years ago, 10 years ago, heck, maybe 11 years. I think they passed them in 2010, and they're just finally enacting the law that they passed, or should I say enforcing it and getting those tariffs. So it created a demand. It's just the banks telling us this is temporary. Watch it. Give it a couple more weeks. Gold. They keep pushing this one in Iraq. 170 tons of gold. They didn't add any, but the value went up, of course, as the value of gold goes up. They keep like nonstop, guys. Every week or two, every time they're worried about the currency or somebody posts a negative story, Iraq says, we got the gold. We got the money. Stop worrying. I do keep seeing a lot of rumors that Al-Alaq is stalling things, guys. I can find zero. I mean, zero. Absolutely 100% of zero of my sources that think that is accurate. Iraqi parliament completes transitional steps until government formation. They are in place. They are seating the president, then the prime minister. Just another reminder, progress is still going on. But I think these are some of the bigger things that we're going to look at right now. Another sacrificial lamb, resignation of the deputy governor of the Central Bank of Iran for monetary affairs. Every so often, every day or two, Iran pulls another official out and says, look, they resigned. We're going to fix your monetary problems. They haven't done anything structural to fix anything other than to continue to find, a stool pigeon, somebody to take the blame, to shift it, to try to keep the Iranian people. We are hearing some very interesting things out of Iran, and buckle up, guys, because I think this is all part of a bigger play. I'm laying out the chessboard right now. Baghdad tries to understand Tehran's press, meaning they can't talk to the government of Iran right now, so they have to learn what's going on from the press. An Iraqi minister calls Iran and no one answers. 7 power stations stopped. So in the last days since these uprisings in Iran began, gas flows, power flows, things are shutting off in Iran. Things are not making it to Iraq, and they can't get answers. Nobody answers. They call the government. Nobody responds. Nobody's home. What does this tell you? So they're calling saying, hey, the gas isn't flowing, power's not flowing, we're having to shut down power plants, things are falling apart. What's going on? Crickets. So they're having to rely on whatever might make it in the press to try to find out what's going on right across the border. This is how paralyzed the Iranian government is right now. And I think this is important moving forward. And there's the one I was telling you. The most dangerous thing you may hear: news of the arrival of the U.S. Delta forces in Iraq. Over the past few hours, media reports circulating on Iraqi platforms and Iranian opposition channels have escalated about the arrival of the U.S. elite force known as Delta Force in Iraq and its stationing near its border with Iran. And a move that observers see as very sensitive if it coincides with any possible military decision against Tehran. According to Baghdad Today monitored, these platforms indicate that units of the Delta Force were deployed in the vicinity of the Iraqi-Iranian border, with talk of a major shift in the security scene that may be witnessed in the next stage, and a direct link between these news and scenario of a possible strike targeting vital facilities inside Iran against the background of the existing tensions between Washington and Tehran. This is a sensitive moment in history, and we are watching it live. They should send Delta Force to Minnesota. It is a cool name for a spec op units. What do you all think? Is this the mad dash push to get Iran on board and Venezuela on board for this full reset? Are we watching massive change? See, Catherine, last night my friend spoke to his Regions banker, and it was said that they were working from 6 a.m. to 10 until January 16th to get it done. Banker was very optimistic. Ooh, Catherine, thank you for sharing that. I do, like so many people, quit doing this, quit waiting. It's never going to happen. Meanwhile, all of these people out there getting confirmations from their banks, more and more banks confirming. I know it's not everyone, and 90% of the time you walk into a dead wall, but we are getting more and more of you all that are giving us firsthand stories where you've had those discussions with bank employees are going, yeah, you were right all along. They started training us. They told us it's coming. We don't know when. I love those. Love those. And you all just have to decide whether you can hang on or not. It's all about survival. Iraqi media platforms reacted to the news. Security experts. We are watching a massive change. Whether you like it or don't like it, the world is changing. I mean, it's going to keep going. Here we go. Cuba's security state colonization in America is proven by deaths of 32 intelligence agents surrounding Maduro. Okay, read that one again. The U.S. kept claiming that Cuba was helping to pull the strings in Maduro. Regime in Venezuela kept being told we were BS. They're only sending doctors and nurses and professionals to help the people. Now we find 32 intelligence agents, special ops people from Cuba, you name it, embedded in the Venezuelan government when they went in to release Maduro, when they went in to extract Maduro. It really craps on that one. In other words, oil's nice, but it doesn't appear this was all about oil. This looks to be much, much deeper, about dismantling a global, nefarious, deep state organization with some crazy ties to intelligence agencies, some of our own intelligence agencies. Guys, are you watching this? You were told that the deep state would go down, that they would be going after pieces and part and dismantling it, and that's what you are watching. So many pieces. So many pieces. Here's how the U.S. proxy control of Venezuela can harm Cuban, Chinese, and Russian interests. Actually, let's take a short break here. I got something to read for you from one of the analysts I have the most respect for. And I'm not certain. All right. We're going to go backwards here to 2003 to a leaked Pentagon report from the early 2000s. I know I should probably put my face back there for this one. I'm going to give you guys some excerpts from a 2003 intelligence report. Hopefully the voice holds up. It's going to be so interesting getting Andy in here today, folks. All right, put the glasses back on because I got to read. A leaked Pentagon report from the early 2000s confirms that President Trump's interest in Canada and Greenland was never about politics or ego. It was about survival. A Pentagon commissioned report from 2003, leaked in 2004 and buried under ridicule, is now unfolding almost word for word. At the time, it was dismissed as speculative fiction. In reality, it outlined a strategic scenario, a sudden planetary climate shift caused by the collapse of major ocean currents. Similar to the Younger Dryas and the 8.2 thousand year event, the consequences listed were extreme cooling, crop failure, mass migration, social instability, and wars over food, water, and habitable land. This was not a theory, it was a contingency framework. When President Trump said in 2020, it will get cooler, just watch, he was mocked. Yet by 2024, 2025, scientists openly warned that the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation is weakening toward potential collapse. The exact mechanism the Pentagon flagged is now publicly acknowledged, with projections of northern hemisphere cooling, energy grid stress, agricultural disruption, and population displacement. Trump wasn't guessing, he was briefed. This context explains Greenland and Canada. President Trump's attempt to buy Greenland and expand U.S. presence in the Arctic was framed as absurd, but it fits the report precisely. Greenland offers elevation, rare earth minerals, strategic positioning in a cooling world. Canada provides freshwater reserves, agricultural land, continental continuity, and a geophysical crisis. Control of the North becomes control of survival. The doctrine is simple. Whoever controls the cold controls the future. The report also predicted Europe would fracture under pressure, facing internal conflict, migration, and resource-driven wars. Years later, the pattern's visible. Energy collapse in Germany, the Ukraine conflict framed as geopolitics, but driven by resource control, rising authoritarian measures across the EU. The report outlined two paths: Russia absorbed into Europe or positioned as the enemy. The second path became a reality. Another suppressed element involved geomagnetic instability. The report linked past extinction events to magnetic pole shifts. Today, Earth's magnetic field is weakening rapidly. The magnetic North Pole is racing towards Siberia. Satellite disruptions and climate volatility are increasing. These are classic indicators of magnetic excursion. Humanity is largely unprepared. Whistleblowers later echoed this framework, describing a sequence of crises used to condition populations ahead of a larger geophysical event. Pandemics, lockdowns, resource wars. What once sounded implausible now looks disturbingly linear. According to this framework, what comes next is predictable. Ocean current disruption, temperature shifts, migration, emergency governance, border realignments, and new power blocks centering around habitable zones. Trump's strategy was never about dominance. It was about positioning America to survive while others collapse. Canada and Greenland were never optional. They were anchors in a post-collapse map. I'm really curious. I mean, I'm getting so many strange, crazy pieces and trying to make them make sense. Sorry, guys. A little tickle going there. Let's see. DOD. Dohade. Happy birthday. Let's see, Mark. My brother was one of 200 civilian contractors through RC8 to set up ICBM missile systems. Even there was more behind his 2-year deployment. He told us. Even then, there was more behind his 2-year deployment. Guys, this is getting interesting. And it appears that that we have a president that is fighting this new world order and preserving our position. This is getting interesting. I mean, like crazy. I mean, let's pick the craziest conspiracy theory novels of all time. some of the kookiest, wackiest movies of all time, and they are looking sane. All right, now let's get back to this. Here's how the U.S. proxy control of Venezuela can harm Cuban, Chinese, and Russian interests. Great one here. Let's see. Yeah, okay, it's not too long. Let's read this thing. Cuba might be coerced in subordinating itself to the U.S. The cascading consequences of other major BRI partners being intimidated into following Venezuela's example could compel changes to China's development strategy, and some of Venezuela's Soviet Russian arsenal might be sent to the Ukraine. The U.S. special military operation in Venezuela. All right, we really don't. We're getting 30 to 50 million barrels, and there's more than that that has to be sold to recoup. When Trump does this, that oil is being sold to satisfy a world court judgment, a judgment against Venezuela that they were supposed to pay decades ago and refused to pay. So they are recouping lost money for corporations that were kicked out under Hugo Chavez. This is a court ordered, world court ordered, one in front of the entire world for these companies against Venezuela and their theft of those assets. I want to remind folks of that before we we're just taking 30, 50. Told you it was all about the oil. Because you're going to hear that nonstop. So it's a big on this one. As they do this, they take power away. This is more about controlling China than anything else. Russia is going to be okay. Russia loses a little bit. They've got probably $20 billion worth of arms there, and they like having anybody that is pro them against the West, blah, blah, blah. We get that. China has the most, well, I shouldn't say it. Cuba has the most to lose. China has the next to lose. Iran, kind of unimportant. China's starting to worry about energy, but then again, it's only 7% of their foreign trade. So they're going to survive this breakdown in Venezuela. But it cuts off a lot. Here you go. As for China, Venezuela oil accounts for only 4% of its total imports, while Venezuela's $17.9 billion in outstanding debts, nothing compared to the Chinese economy, so it can eat it. But it does. The cascading consequences could compel changes to China's development strategy. In other words, they're going to have to focus on Asia again and not in the Americas. But Cuba can't recover, meaning Cuba will most likely become a vassal state in the coming weeks, months. We are watching so many changes that we've been hearing about forever. And it's a lot deeper. Germany is competing with Poland to lead Russia's containment. Did I do two for me? I did two from Andrew today. Wall Street Journal detailed Germany's secret plan for war with Russia late last year, which boils down to rapidly remilitarizing and modernizing transport infrastructure across the country in order to more effectively function as a nationwide staging ground in any such future conflict. Former Chancellor Olaf Scholz set the ball rolling with his de facto manifesto that was published by Foreign Affairs in December 2022. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Modernization, they are desperately trying to pull themselves together. Their factories have been shutting down, their economy tanking, people getting upset, mad against migrants. This is like a replay of like 1930s Germany, like a replay. We changed a few of the characters. But what's next? They're probably going to get really mad at the migrants and start screaming about Muslims like they screamed about Jews back in the 1920s, 30s, etc. And they need to grow their military. In other words, they're trying to find a way out of the mess that they have created in their collapse. As I'm watching this, I'm just like, and then I read that report from an analyst from the early 2000s where they talk about these these worldwide changes, and how Europe is going to be fighting for resources. And that certainly makes me think, what is ahead? I very much think we're going to get dollars and life's going to be good for us, but I think a lot of the world's going to be going to crap. U.S. discusses ways to acquire Greenland, military use on the table. A joint statement by Nordic nations on Monday highlighted Increased investment in deterrence, defense, and situational awareness. Of course, we have a very pro-Greenland president, folks that would like to be part of the U.S. in some way. I don't think it's going to have to be military. I really don't. They've talked about money. They've talked about partnering. But he's made it well known that acquiring Greenland is a national security priority. And now I understand even more why it is so necessary. This is getting just crazy when you read some of these theories and conspiracy theories. Immigration agent surge into Minneapolis and largest operation ever. Accountability is finally happening. Medicaid will claw back fraud funds from Minnesota, according to their agency head. Yeah, we're coming after it. Give it back. You knew it was fraud and you still let it go. And then I had one here. Actually, we need to share it from its proper source. Most important news. I'm just going to put this in links because I saw Andy pop in and I really want to get over there to that. Perhaps we should actually be focusing on fixing America as we're looking at the world. Even MTG saying it. It's time to ignore the world and fix ourselves. People are living paycheck to paycheck. Middle class is imploding. Jobs are dying. Manufacturing, 10 months in a row, is down. Now, think about that. That's impressive because the tariffs should have been bringing more manufacturing back, but manufacturing is still nosediving. I'm curious to get Andy's take on that one. I think
Mark.
Some big structural problems, and it's hitting the fan. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment, man. We've been talking about that now for a couple of years, and, little by little, it seems to be happening.
It piled up. Now, what do we take out of what's going on with the metal prices right now? By the time we wake up in the morning, it looks like the fix is in, and then throughout the day, they lose control over it. Yesterday, we start, like 74? We go up to like 83.10, I think.
Right.
Now we're back down to, we started the morning at like 74 something. Now we're like 77, almost 78.
Yeah.
Is this game, is it just them trying to juggle?
There's a lot going on right now, Mark. There's a battle going on between the shorts and the longs that are standing for delivery. And there are a lot of big names that are off sides. There's a lot of information going on too, and some of it is questionable. Some of it you have to wonder, is this true or not? Some of the things that I look at that kind of break out the noise. Hang on one second. Getting bombarded here. Some of the things that I look at that break out the noise would be the amount of deliveries that we've seen just in the first few days of the January contract. That's first and foremost, because to me, what that speaks of. So let's say, how did all this correction start, right? And that'll all make sense, I guess. The CME group, which is the commodity exchange, COMEX, does what it always does when the price starts to move too high and too fast. They raise margin limits. That's what they do to kind of get the ball rolling downhill. And what I mean by that is that before we saw this margin hike, which there were two of them in the last 3 weeks, leading up to the last one the day after Christmas, the 26th. At that point, you had a $21,000 margin requirement to be in your account, sitting in your margin account to control 5,000 ounces of silver. So to control over $300,000 worth of silver, you would be able to, because a standard COMEX contract is 5,000 ounces, 5 1,000-ounce bars. You have 21,000 in your margin account, you're good to go. Well, they raised margins twice. And so the second one by 30% the day after Christmas. And basically, when they raise margins, that you get a call from the exchange and say you need to post this increase in margin immediately, or we need another $6,000 per contract immediately in your margin account, or it gets liquidated. Well, that forces liquidations on speculators who are long using the leverage. It's quite a lot of leverage you're getting too. 21,000 to control 300 plus thousand is an awful lot of leverage. So maybe a trader has 20 contracts on leverage and gets the margin increase, has to sell a couple of them in order to come up with the cash to cover the margin requirements. That selling begets more selling, got to cover. The price goes against you, falls from all of the selling. The big traders step on the price a little bit, and all of a sudden you get a cascade waterfall down. This is called shaking the bushes. I'm going to give you an analogy in a moment why it makes so much sense. But so they shake the bushes, the price falls, and all of these players that think they can outsmart the market, and maybe they do know the general direction, but they're thinking leverage today instead of looking at a big picture, and the market moves against them because the big banks also who are doing this, they have a book of where all the positions are at. They know the pain points. They know how to squeeze them just enough to where they're in trouble. And the selling begets more selling, the leverage is unwound, margins are raised, the price falls. Let's raise margins again twice in 2 weeks, the day after Christmas. Bang, price starts to fall. And the big money who isn't using leverage just steps in and scoops it up on the cheap. They buy it at $6-8 less than it was the day before. That is textbook. And if you think about it, I had lunch with one of the owners of a pro baseball team here at his house recently, and he lives next door to Mark Wahlberg, and down the street is Alicia Keys. And these neighborhoods are.
Marky Mark says he wants to pop in here with us.
He literally, if this is the street, my country club is here and his is over there, and you would never know it. I mean, over there, like the houses are so extraordinary over there, way different than where I live, and they're so far set back in a gated community that is completely inconspicuous. You'd never know. So a friend, I do business with the brother of one of the guys that I went to visit, and he said, yeah, come on, let's have lunch at my brother's house, and he wants to meet you, so go over there. And these houses are $30, $40, $50 million a piece, easy. And you think they care what the mortgage rates are, these people? Mark Wahlberg cares about mortgages, or owner of a baseball team, or Alicia Keys. You think they care what mortgage rates are? No, they don't. They go into that neighborhood and they pay cash. It's probably their second or third home. And that's kind of the same thing about the margin increase on Comex. It shakes the bushes with the players that are leveraged and trying to play at that level with institutional sized money who says, oh, really? Let's see how strong your resolve is, how much cash you got. We see you're on leverage. We see what you're betting on. Yeah, the trend is probably right, but we're going to shake you out before you can hang on to get to the end of the destination, if that makes sense.
Do
you have questions on that? Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes sense to me.
But that's why we saw the price fall and go right back up, because every time the price gets hammered, there's at least a $5 or $6 difference between New York and Shanghai right now. The arbitrage is extraordinary. So you get some other dummies who buy in New York and sell physical in Shanghai. That metal will never come back. And they're making that spread between New York and, $5 is, but you do it on 10 million ounces. You just made $50 million just like that. Easy, right? Well, it is, but that metal is never coming back, ever.
Yep. I did see somebody with an interesting one over here. Andy, assume at some point metals reach its sweet spot in value. Well, this wasn't the one I meant to highlight a different one, but let's hit this one while I got it. Metals reach sweet spot in value. If at that point we'd want to reinvest elsewhere, are there safe ways to move from metals to something else? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we would buy it back from you, pay the highest bid price in the country, send you a wire, and off you go. And that is the way to do it. I mean, too many people, Mark, I think the blind spot is looking at gold and silver only as a, what hits the fan hedge. It's not it's there for opportunity too. When I've been accumulating it for 36 years as money, as wealth, holding gold and silver has far outpaced the denigration of the U.S. dollar as it continues to be inflated away every year. Little by little, it is losing its value openly, and I would encourage people, we've done the exercise before, you and I, but I would encourage people to take any asset they can think of that they bought and price it in gold terms, going back, like real estate is the best example. It's easy to do. Average price of a house in 2000, the average price of gold in 2000, average price of a home today, price of gold today. And what you will find is that asset that pays no interest would now buy you 5 homes. If you start with the amount of gold, it would have taken roughly 540 ounces or so to buy you a house in 2005. Go back to 2000, it'll even be more. But 2005 was, I did a 20-year snapshot of it with you, and it's about 500-ish ounces. Gold was 440, and the average price was, I don't know, 200 and some $1,000. Works out to over 500 ounces. Well, those 500 ounces now buy you 5 houses. The price of your house doubled in dollar terms. Sounds great.
Yeah, but then gold went up 5x
because the dollar fell that much in its purchasing power. See, we are all taught to believe. I just have to send. I got a guy from the U.S. Mint is bombing me, so I'm just going to hit reply real quick. Take 1 second.
Right
no, it'll take 1 second because I want to explain this point. Let me just make sure I'm not telling, because I don't have my glasses on. Let me just make sure I'm not saying something bad. Okay, that's good. Sorry, here we go. So we are taught erroneously, it's a big word for me today, that we're supposed to measure the dollar against a basket of awful currencies. Nice, that's another.
That's just comparing which is the worst smelling crap.
Right. And because
it's a lovely steak to sniff or a rose.
Well, that's right. And because of Triffin's dilemma, which says the world needs more dollars than we can provide through trade alone, countries are constantly selling their currency in the open market to buy ours so they can buy oil and transact global business. And in doing such, their currency inherently becomes weaker against ours. So we're measuring the value of our currency against a basket of currencies that are continually devaluing themselves against ours. Doesn't seem like kind of seems like a moving target, right? Moving down continuously. Not a good measuring stick. Measure it in gold and silver, and you will see just how prices about everything you can think of are falling, deflating in terms of gold, inflating in terms of a dying dollar. So it's not gold going higher or asset prices going higher. It's the dollar that the bedrock, your dollar, it's like quicksand, and you're slowly shrinking and shrinking and shrinking against assets that aren't
it's one of the slowest shrinking fiats right now.
Yes, right. It's true. It's true.
We should alarm everybody, because a lot of the money that's keeping it from falling faster is because the other currencies, in other words, the dollar's falling slower. So if you've got one that's falling faster, you need to store value. They're funneling their money at the dollar, creating artificial demand and artificial strength for it, and it's still weakening.
That's exactly right. Good point. And this is why we own gold and silver. To me, it's wealth if you buy it properly. You don't buy crazy speculative stuff. You don't buy any. I mean, look, when you have a hot fudge sundae, it's okay to have a little hot fudge and some sprinkles and a cherry, but don't make that be the bowl. Don't make that be the vanilla ice cream. You want to have a large stash of bullion, like American Eagles, Maples, bars, whatever, which gives you the supreme liquidity. And to me, it acts like cash, only better. And it's not deflating the way the dollar is, or being devalued, debasing the way the dollar is. It's going up in value against a currency that is losing ground. It's like gold and silver sit on the ledge of the bathtub. You pull the plug on the water continuously, slowly. You put a little plug, a little pinhole in the drain. Over time, it's losing value continuously. That is the dollar.
I had somebody else post just, with this, to me, the paper game has been laid out in front of everybody in the world to see. And we still have people that are panicking right now and trying to move retirement into silver, but in paper silver. Unless it's segregated or you're holding it physically, there's no way I'd buy paper. That's me personally.
That's exactly right. Well, and I think paper isn't gold and silver. It's
It's
a
paper.
poor representation. It's a price representation of it. Doesn't offer
It's,
you the same
is it
benefits
like
exactly.
transmetal? Is that what you're trying to get at?
That's a good one. Yeah, but they matter too, Mark.
They matter too.
Yes. If one holds a fair amount of silver, would you sell some to buy some gold or keep the silver since it's a ratio to gold is still out of whack? Oh, good question. I like him. That's my baseball buddy, the original Roy Hubbs. Happy New Year, brother, Roy. It's still not quite there yet. I mean, there's no playbook. I mean, but most of you who bought silver,
Yeah, Bank of America coming out and just saying if you based it on any
309.
yeah, well, 129 to 309, depending on which snapshot of history you look at, but that's massive. I mean, we're talking about a conservative bank when it comes on this one that the last thing they want you to do is go hide and buy a bunch of silver, but even they're admitting the upside for silver is enormous.
Well, yeah, when you see an institution that has been staunchly negative, bearish, all of a sudden spew bullish rhetoric, it means something. There are all sorts of reports, including one in the Economic Times that says JP Morgan and largely the U.S. banks have gone net long in the marketplace, that they have flip-flopped and leaving the European banks net short, holding the bag. That's Tom Luongo's theory. We've talked about that before in the European aristocrats. So interesting times. To me, it may be safe, that ETF, SLVR. I don't know that one as much as I do SLV or PSLV. But to me, why hold the ETF when you can hold the physical? What is really going... See, one of the things about holding the ETFs that you don't get with the physical is the massive premium potential that we saw for so long during the pandemic, and I think we'll see again, because the supply is massively being outstripped against huge demand. And where American Eagles were selling at $14 to $16 to $18 across the country, everywhere. The bid prices were just a little bit below that. The higher the price goes, the larger the spread between buy and sell, because we can't hedge the premium. We can only hedge the metal content. So, in other words, if I have 1 million ounces of silver Eagles, I can sell 1 million ounces on COMEX. So as one goes up, the other goes down, and I unwind this one as I sell this one. And but I'm market neutral. But as the premium on top of that goes higher, 10, 12, 13, I can't hedge that. I'm exposed to it. Can put you out of business if you're not smart. So the higher the premium goes, the larger the spread goes. But anyway, you could get, you don't get that with the ETFs. You don't have physical possession with the ETFs. You're inside the matrix with the ETFs. You're invisible outside it and holding the thing that ultimately the world desires. And if you've ever watched The Great Taking by David Rogers Webb, the change to the Universal Commercial Code, and you're holding a certificate versus the real thing, you would realize, is the convenience really worth it? You can store it physically in a vault, pay according, like, I don't know what the expense ratio or the management fee is on SLVR, SILVR, but on, for example, SLV, it's like 40 or 50 basis points that you're paying BlackRock or JP Morgan. And JP Morgan as the primary custodians, the crook that manipulated the market to the tune of a $920 million penalty by the Justice Department.
And that was just
ever. So instead, you can store it if you want it in a Brinks facility, pay less than you're paying those guys, and you can deduct the storage costs. If you have $100,000 in storage and you pay $1,000 storage fee, your cost basis goes to $101,000. So you can deduct It's less than the management fee that you get nothing for, can never take possession of, and you can deduct it in the end, and you own the real thing. And God forbid something happens to you. Would you want your kids or your grandkids to inherit a piece of paper administered by JP Morgan and BlackRock, or the real thing that is being desired in unprecedented proportions, expanding as we go, that has outlasted 2 world wars, German hyperinflation, the Great Depression, and every pandemic? Full circle, here we are, and now it's a critical mineral in the United States, that being silver. And I would throw gold into it as well, maybe even more, because ultimately gold is the destination. It's going to back the new monetary system globally. But holding the real thing is far better than holding a paper price representation of it, and a poor one at that, in my opinion. What does that say, my man?
If silver is stored in a depository such as Money Metals and it's segregated, is it safe? A lot of people are trying to feel better, say if it's in their retirement account and they can't have physical on it, but it is segregated. There are some vaults out there I wouldn't use, but Money Metals has always appeared to be a good company to me.
Yeah, they are a good company. I have never heard a bad word. In fact, I had one of their guys on my video on my YouTube channel. I interviewed him, one of the guys for the Sound Money Defense League, and I think it's Stephen Gleason is the owner. Nothing but respect for the guy. So I would say there are a lot of good companies. There are a lot of horseshit companies too that will steal from you. Money Metals is not one of them. And if indeed I know they have a big vault, I'd have gone a little bit differently than Stefan has. He's spent a great deal of money and built a world-class vault. I decided to not go that route and just instead to partner with Brinks, and we have eight locations around North America. But the first thing I said when I walked into the meeting with Brinks, to this person's point, is it has to be 100% segregated and or audited, or it won't work. So yes, it is safe, but never as safe as a hole in your backyard, whether it be Stefan's program or mine. They're both safe, but what does safe mean? And if you want an asset that truly has no counterparty liability, then be your own vault. Now, for a lot of people, that doesn't work. But you could be a midnight gardener. Tough to do up north in the winter. Hard to dig a hole in January in Minnesota or Wisconsin or whatever. But yeah, it's safe. Stefan's a good guy.
Andy, are graded gold coins a good investment? I mean, I know what my knee-jerk reaction is. I'd run, but maybe some could be.
To me, modern minted gold coins that are certified is lipstick on a pig. They're all high grade, right? And all of them. If you own pre-33 U.S. gold coins, yes, then it's absolutely good. You want them certified. But the modern stuff that you're paying big premiums for, no, I wouldn't think that it is a good investment generally.
David, thanks for the support. And, that may be some of the best money you ever spent, I think, this year. Said he just bought 10 ounces of silver from you guys last night.
Thank you.
Let's go. There's more and more people are going to be trying to figure this out. How do we figure out what our sterling silverware is worth?
It's tough to do. You have to.
Each manufacturer is a little different.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. Also, a lot of companies don't want to take it right now, which is really weird. So the reason is, wow, I am having a flat-out allergy attack in this studio. So what happens is normally you could sell that to a refinery, right? Or to a company that will refine it for you. But the reason the refiners don't want to take it right now is that, remember I said I was hedging my portfolio? So if I have 3 million ounces of metal in my warehouse, I sell 3 million ounces on COMEX. One goes up, one goes down the same amount. I'm market neutral. The volume that we are doing allows us to seamlessly do this. Imagine you're a refinery. You have, $25 million worth of silver that you've taken in from the public, however you got it, in things like candlesticks, doré bars, jewelry, sterling, even junk silver. And it takes time to, when you have, takes time when you buy flatware. You got to pull it off. Like the knives the blades are stainless steel. The handles are made of plaster with a thin wrapping of sterling. You got to pull all that off, and you got to prepare everything. Then you melt it down, and then you turn it into BBs, like it's called shot. BBs are ball bearing size things, and then you melt that down, and you make your bars and your rounds. This whole thing might take 6 weeks or longer, and you have silver in various stages of production that take weeks, right? So when the refiner has 50 million bucks in metal that they bought from the public, they hedge it too, right? So the price goes up, vice versa. Problem is that what's been happening? Let's increase the margin, and then the price falls, and all of a sudden, said refiner's getting margin called, and they're like, "Holy shit, we haven't even turned this into shot yet, and we're getting margin called." They don't have the cash flow to up their margin or whatever, so they're like, "We're just not going to take any business right now until we catch up," because it's so a lot of refiners stop taking business because they're getting margin called, and that's a problem if you have a lengthy process from start to finish. You're not rotating stuff the way a metals dealer is. What does that say?
For a little guy like me who only has $1,000 to spare, what would you buy? I know
1 ounce silver rounds probably, or pre-65 junk silver, but 1 ounce silver rounds. It doesn't matter how much you have. It's that you continue to pay yourself first and continue to do what you can because that $1,000 today will be worth less next year today. I mean, a year from today, and be worth less than that 2 years from today if you hold it in dollars. And anyone who doubts me, if you're my age, went to high school in the late 80s, think of what growing up, what $20 did, when you were 16. Go to a movie with a girl with $20 in your pocket and get popcorn and 2 tickets and whatever, and still come home with a few cents in your pocket. Now $20 hardly gets you, you're not getting a box of popcorn and 2 sodas for $20 anymore. The point of it is that it's losing its value so fast. You need to take whatever spare cash you have.
If you think about that money in 2000, it's lost a little over 30% of its value, and that's if you believe their inflation numbers. So let's say it's lost 30% of its value, but if that money would have been in silver or gold,
right,
it would be way up, not down. And cheeseburger, this is a great example. But got 90 ounces from Andy a few years ago, quadrupled already.
Well, that's fantastic, and I appreciate that, and that's because we are just recommending bullion. That's the vanilla ice cream, and not only
might be a little boring, guys, but it's still awesome.
Yeah, and I look at it as wealth. I mean, I truly do. Someone said to me, I was driving in today, and I'm talking to a guy, and he says, what percentage do you recommend? I said, look, I look at it differently than everyone else. We were talking about mining shares also. I said, I've worked with Rick Rule and Sprott for a long time. They've sent me their business for a long time. He says, do you own mining shares? I said, which ones do you own? I said, I know a few of them, but I have a managed account with Sprott that I don't even really know what's in there. I don't look at it enough. I do it out of courtesy and friendship, right? Because Sprott's been sending me their brokers will do their precious metal sales through my company. They've become friends of mine. Quid pro quo, I opened a managed account years ago with them, and I trust them, and they've done very well by me. But the moral of the story was, I said, look, that to me is an investment. What I own in physical metal is cash. It's money. It's money that I hope I never need to use. If I do, I'm damn glad I have it. And it's not just for an emergency. It could be for a hell of an opportunity. Maybe I want to, maybe I got a wedding to pay for. Maybe I want to buy a new car. Maybe I just need money. And I would rather hold it in a form that continually, for going on, really, go back to 1971, but let's just say the last 25 years, not only has outperformed everything quietly, slowly, don't tell anybody, but why hold dollars that continue to lose value? To me, this is my wealth. And if you do it right, get a little bit of luck on your side, it will continue to outpace the eroding U.S. dollar, which has value like a melting ice cube.
It's to me, it's like when it's physical like that, and you've got to convert it. People are like, yeah, but I want to hold it in cash because I don't want to lose the money when I convert it. The cost of sending it back, all those I'm going to lose. I forget. Some people have said 5%, 2%. You're losing. I mean, your dollar is built to lose 2 or 3%.
But you may not. I mean, and that's a fair point, Mark. And I like the fact that you say that. I like pushback. Fair point. There are times where the bid price is a little bit less, but first of all, that's how, in general, that's how companies stay around and provide a service. They need to make money in order to do it. And the cost of running a metals business now has gotten really expensive with insurance. The insurance companies say, well, you got a lot of money in there. We're storing in our Brinks facilities over $1.3 billion worth of people's money. It wasn't that much a couple of years ago, but because the price went so high, well, we need to up you the insurance. We need to hire more people at that vault, and we need to do some more security analysis, and the cost of shipping has gotten more, and insurance for shipping and lost packages, and just the cost of carry to hedge everything. And when I started talking with you a few years ago, the cost a tube of gold Eagles, 20 coins, was probably $40,000. Now, a tube of gold Eagles is damn well near $100,000. And so the cost of everything has gotten higher. But let's play devil's advocate. You call me on Thanksgiving. Now, I know it's not fair to use a pandemic as your measuring stick, but I want you to think of the things that are happening now that could have a similar, not pandemic lockdown, but a similar reaction to how this would translate into higher metals prices or greater demand. But you call me on Thanksgiving Day 2019 and say, I want to buy $100,000 worth of silver eagles. What will you buy them? What will you sell them? Okay, sure. I'll pay you. I'll sell them to you at $339 over. I'll buy them back at $269 over. And that would have been consistent for years. Okay, that's not that big of a difference. Okay, let's do it. You call me back 5 months later during the pandemic. So let's just say now there's a bank collapse or a market collapse or metals keep going, or forget about the fact it's already been classified strategic mineral. What if all sorts of things start to come into play? The 11 states that have passed legal tender laws, and also the public goes hog wild for this stuff. Premiums spike again. All right. So that's the same type of thing. But you call me back 4 months later. Yeah, man, the pandemic's killed me. You told me you'd pay $269 over on those boxes. Is that still good? I'd say no, but how about 11 over? Premiums spiked. The demand. So what happens is there's about 5 or 6 primary distributors. They buy every single thing the mint will sell them. I am one step below the primary distributors as an authorized reseller, one of 27 in the world as for the U.S. Mint. And so I can buy from all of these distributors. I have accounts with all of them. I could really buy from the mint in huge amounts if we wanted to as a authorized reseller, but it's not worth it. I pay a tad bit more and buy from the primary distributors. So the distributors, they will buy everything the mint has. And when the mint is out, that's it. Now these 5 are the market makers globally. Yeah, we have silver eagles, but there's so much demand from here. This is the premium. And we'll buy them right here too. We're not going to just sell it up here. We'll buy it right here too. So all of a sudden, you didn't lose. In fact, you wickedly made more in an $11 increase in premium. Instead of me paying you $1.30 or $2.39 over, I'm now paying you 11 over. So what, $9+ in premium that you didn't lose. So this depends. The market, the premium has a life on its own. It used to just be about production and distribution. Now it's also about supply demand.
Johnny with a question. Andy, how long does it take to get physically when it's in stock on the website? In other words, if somebody were to go online, order.
Well, it'd be best to call us. You can go on the website, or call us, and depending upon how much you're spending, probably get a little bit more competitive once you're off the website on anything over $10,000 for sure. But if not, if it says it's in stock after your funds cleared, should be rather quick. Everything is a little gummed up right now. The amount of business we're doing is I mean, it's insane. I wanted to take time off at the end of the year, and I found myself working every single day. My
Yeah,
phone was
and
ringing
I
off
would
the
like to
hook.
point out that you weren't on here.
No, I wasn't. I didn't do podcasts. I mean, that was
And
the one
still
thing I
weren't.
needed. Yeah, I was on the phone nonstop between suppliers and customers. You know, that it's really busy right now, and yet you all represent the pimple on the elephant's ass. You want to know the truth. The elephant has no idea yet, and when the
Yeah,
elephant
no
turns
clue.
around and comes running into this tiny little hole to get whatever they can, that's when premiums go parabolic.
Yeah, that's people. I know it may seem crazy. They're looking at, you know, what, 78.05 right now on the ticker. And we haven't even entered the game yet.
No, we haven't. I as far as copper, I wouldn't own it physically. I don't understand why people would. I guess there is a lot of hype. For me, I would own it in stock form, like Freeport McMoran is what I've owned because I like copper as an investment. To own it physically, most people wouldn't. They'd look at it, what the hell? How do I even know it's copper? I mean, it looks like copper, right? But who's ever seen anything other than a penny made of copper or a piece of wire or tubing? I don't know. To me, and I know that sounds sophomoric, but I just it's too inexpensive per pound to make worth it. I would much rather see you buy, instead of buying $500 worth of copper, I'd rather see you buy $500 worth of junk silver, because it's just, I think for 5,000 years it's been money. Copper is now maybe being used as a form of wealth across the world because it's a necessity for building things. It still doesn't have the history or the, you know, I mean, silver and gold are in our DNA, literally. I mean, we've been searching for it since biblical times. There's something mystical about both of them. I don't think you get that with copper.
To me, copper, I think it's going to do well. I think it's going to do great. But for the same money, I think I can do percentage-wise exponentially better with silver. So that's kind of my take on it. You know, if somebody wanted to give me 1,000 pounds of copper, I wouldn't say, you know, just get that crap out of here. I'd be like, sure, I'll take it.
Right.
If I'm looking at my own hard-earned money and where I can do the best, and it's the less volatility and the least risk, yeah, I'm going to go grab the silver. A lot of folks wondering on glint, is it safe? A lot of people worried as silver starts to run, or government's going to try to take supplies, etc.
They're as safe as anything. I mean, it's stored at Brinks in Zurich. Look, desperate governments do desperate things, but we're not there yet. So in a world where, you know, things are still moving in a rational manner, glint with Brinks is absolutely safe, 100%.
Ted, should I sell my silver and glint and buy a physical? I mean, for me, it depends on what I've got or don't have.
Well, this is it. That's exactly right. Well, you're right. I mean, but this is just convenience over and I think Jason would tell you the same thing, that you should have your physical first and then glint. They're different. You know, yes, it's a great way to store metal, but and to access it, if you need, you can't use your glint card for silver yet, only gold. So if you're just using it as a way to accumulate it, yeah, you're getting fair price and it's held at Brinks. But for me, I think you have to have physical first.
Yeah. Just reading some of those. So yeah, the world's going crazy.
You think
that's any kind of sign from I mean, we're watching metals, we're watching foreign policy changes, Venezuela, Cuba. I mean, we're watching some absolute insanity go on across the world. Delta forces showing up on the border between Iraq and Iran. We're watching like everything about our war, not everything, but much about our world change on a dime. Any predictions for the year? I mean, I know we're starting out here in January. We haven't seen you since last year.
Well, one of the things that I found very interesting, and it's less a prediction, just an observation. I'm not big on predictions. I think we live in a world of probabilities. I'm about more mathematical and analytical. In a world, there are no guarantees in anything. There are no absolutes. The world is very fluid, but in a world of probabilities, I think chaos is only going to increase as the monetary system breaks down and we move to a new system, a new rules-based order that isn't always all about the West, I think. But just as a comment, I find it interesting also that the way that I look at things versus the way that most people look at things. And I think I'm different that way. Maybe I take a look at a holistic picture, kind of through maybe my frame is a little bit biased, but I look at, people look at Venezuela and say, well, the United States built the infrastructure for the oil, and when Maduro took over, the whole thing went pear-shaped. So they've screwed us. Okay, there's some legitimacy to that. We had a deal. We built it. Our oil companies built it. We had a deal. That's not good. Okay, fine. I don't like being the world's policeman, but I get it. And he's a narco guy. Okay, I get it. But is there something bigger there? Now, when I look at the something bigger there, I also notice, oh, what's that over there? In Nigeria, they're now protecting the Christians out of nowhere, right? So Christians have been persecuted there for a long time. They just so happened to decide it was time to go bomb Nigeria and protect the Christians. Now, maybe that is what they're doing. God bless us for doing that, right? But is there something bigger there? Connected, are they something bigger? Well, what would connect these two things jointly at the same time? Venezuela applied to the BRICS, has the largest amount of oil reserves known in the world, wants to sell them in yuan. Nigeria, the largest oil producer in Africa,
and horribly underutilized because it is such a dangerous region,
and has applied to the BRICS, wants to sell their oil in what? Oh, that's right, digital yuan. Remember what happened to Gaddafi? Remember what happened to Saddam when they decided they wanted to sell their oil in things other than the US dollar? Now, I'm not saying this is the case, or could I be saying maybe these things are a message to the BRICS? Could it be? I don't know. Maybe. There's a lot of maybe in everything. And I think that's what has allowed me to be successful connecting the dots. I either am stupid or brave enough, either stupid enough or brave enough to say it publicly. And luckily, I got right on most of what I said through the years because I'm connecting the dots. Now, you want to take a step back and connect some more dots. China next week is leading the first ever military exercise done under the BRICS framework. And it's happening just off the coast of South Africa next week, and includes Russia and Iran as well. I always thought that would happen. A lot of people said, no, they will never do that. That's the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which is really integrated with BRICS, but they're the largest regional military group in the world. But now the BRICS is using a BRICS masthead to do these military exercises. And the drills are very routine, but the message isn't, in my mind. And it's China using BRICS to quietly expand military cooperation outside the Western system. And it's not just a naval exercise. It's a signal to the West that, that the U.S.-led order might not look the same anymore or soon to be. So anyways, yeah, what could happen? It's going to get it's going to get volatile geopolitically and in every way. But so yeah, I don't know what the prediction is. If I had to guess, silver could easily be well past $100 and should be. Some would say it's getting over 200. You know, Bank of America says up to 309. Higher than people think. And gold, I wouldn't be surprised to see it knocking on 7,000 by the end of the year. But I don't like to make predictions. It's just a intuitive based guess more than anything.
Got some fun ones here. Mike wants to know if he can just buy a small amount through Miles Franklin. I'm like, absolutely. But if it's too small amount, it might make more sense to go down to your local coin shop.
Yeah, you can buy it from us. Of course, there's a $15 shipping fee if it's under 100 ounces, I believe, on the website. I think is what it is. But anyways, yeah, I mean, you can go to your local coin shop. You can buy from us. We don't have an order minimum.
Yeah, but think about that. If it's only $15 to get it shipped and it's 100 ounces, think about the time of the day to get in the car, drive to the coin shop, buy it, and drive home. It may be more convenient just to call you.
Well, it may be more convenient to stay off the radar too, because I've read all sorts of, trade stuff in the industry that say if you ever do go to a coin shop, be very cognizant of
Who's around you and who's watching.
Yeah, and when you leave, take different routes home. Don't go straight home. There are stories of old couples being followed home after leaving a coin shop with a big bag and getting held up in their garage.
Oh yeah.
So that kind of stuff.
I did see Gone Fishing. I know for me, if I like the person, I'll pay spot. If I trust who they bought it from, I'd pay spot. They want to know, do you pay spot price when buying metals from an individual?
Well, yeah, but it could be much more than that. That's what we were saying earlier.
Oh, in other words, do you? I was thinking about like me, Gone Fishing. I was thinking of you going down to local coin shop. Somebody comes in there to sell it. They offer them less, and you say, I'll pay you spot. That's what I was thinking. So,
well, the local coin shops don't hedge, so they have to pay back a spot. If they pay spot and all of a sudden spot moves up, they're losing. So, right now, bid prices have been very weak. They're just starting to come up right now globally. I mean, throughout the whole U.S.
Andy, I'm going through all my coins that I've had for past several years and finding interesting coins that appear to be very valuable. How can I have them checked for value? I found one in my collection that really just shocked me and stunned me, so I get it. We need a good coin guy on here.
Well, if you had a coin that was valuable, you'd want to send it into PCGS for grading and authenticating. So PCGS or NGC, those are the two that you would want to use, and we can help you do that. You can call us, tell us what you have. We'll tell you what it's worth, if it really is in high grade condition, and if it's worth having certified.
Let's see, where else am I here? I keep taking the glasses off, and I should be leaving them on. Let's see, is 70% of 0.9999 silver refined in Switzerland? I don't think that much of it is.
Well, that's what the AI guy is saying. A lot of it is. I mean, when you realize, and I wouldn't be surprised if that might actually be true. China is responsible for 60 to 70% of silver doré refining. Switzerland will often refine the pure stuff and cast it into bars made at the primary refineries would be PAMP, Valcambi, Metalor, Argo Harris. And so that's why bars are so hard to get right now. Normally they're cheap. Like I sold kilo Valcambi bars to half your client base, half your readership base, and you can't really get them right now because of tariffs. No one imported any. The guys that import for PAMP and Valcambi didn't do it. Royal Canadian Mint is the other big one, also the Perth Mint in Australia, where the bars will come from, but they're all offshore, and they were all worried about tariffs, so no one imported hardly any. They're hard to come by right now. They really are.
Boy, they mount. Let's see. Just the questions coming at. Yeah, I do love Andy's honesty. A good metal mining company. Mac. And there's another one that starts with a G. I think it starts with a G.
Always my wife. My wife, she's calling me. She knows I'm on right now.
Oh yeah, totally take it.
Hang
That's to
on.
show your amount of love for her, that you're willing to. It's a test, Andy. Just run with it.
Yeah, you don't want to fail that test, dude.
No,
What was the question again? See, my wife has that way of. What was the
good
question?
metal by good
I
metal.
mean, if
mining
you want to
company.
just, to me, the ones to buy right now, you know, there are a lot of good gold and silver mining companies. I'll let you do that, but no, to me, you want to do something easy and stable. You could do the royalty companies like Royal Gold, Silver Wheaton, Franco Nevada. These are the companies that lend money to the mining companies. It's a safer operation. It's less, it's less volatile, less risky, and they get royalties. So there are a lot of good ones. Obviously I'm not a financial advisor in this case, but I do own like Gold Corp. I own, excuse me, Newmont, Pan American Silver is probably my biggest holding. First Majestic. I own the royalty companies. So there's a lot of good ones out there, but typically you want to buy them from the HUI index, which are the unhedged mining companies so they profit more as the price goes up. HUI companies. And the royalty companies would be the ones that I would get.
I don't know how long we have you, but can I plaster with you for a few more questions or not? It's
Yeah, I got it. At
30.
least another 5 minutes.
All right. Glint card cost you every use. Wait, I heard capital gain. Wait, something about capital gains and storage fees. Is that true? I'm guessing.
Yes, it is. It is, of course. I mean, if you're selling your gold that's gone up in value, you're paying capital gains. So, and they will provide that for you at the end of the year.
Do you pay state taxes when purchasing metals? This person's in California. Some states charge, some states don't.
If it's over, I think California has to be over $2,000, and then you don't. Which I'd never understood. They screw the guy that wants to spend under $2,000, but you spend over that, no taxes.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I see another one in here I want to touch on. But Andy, is there a way to put a camera where you have our IRA gold, silver holdings to say hello and see our? I think that's a great idea. Segregated, if they had like little compartments and you could go in there and check on it like you do when your dog's at the, boarding, getting boarded, or your kids at daycare. Check on your
nanny cam. Yeah, no, unfortunately, they won't let you do that. They won't let you do that.
Pitt's mom, I was a bank teller in my 20s. I had a ton of nice silver. My mom, one day while I was at work, decided to protect it and took it and put it into a savings account.
Oh, shit.
Like, right?
Yeah, well, that costs you about 50 times its value. Almost exactly right now. Over 50 times its value. So a dime right now, melt-wise, is worth over $5.
Yeah,
that's worse than mom throwing out my baseball cards.
Let's see. XRP got rug pulled yesterday. No, not really. I mean, that's just normal, Benny. Hang on. Silver got slammed last night. Already moving back up. Stock market's next. We're just watching an absolutely insane world. That's why I'm loving my metals right now, because I can just sit back and watch the insane world.
It's very volatile. It is very volatile right now. The whole world is very volatile right now.
Yeah, if I had, I think the place to have your money is in silver, seeds, and antibiotics. Just buckle up and watch.
It's true. Maybe some lead too.
Yeah, maybe some. Yeah, that's a strategic metal. All right, Andy. I can't thank you enough. It's good to have you back this year. Feel free.
You're a handsome guy, Mark. Always good to be with you, brother. I wish you and your two lovely boys and your lovely daughter and anyone that means anything to you, very happy, healthy New Year. You know I mean that. And to everyone out there, all the best. Happy, healthy New Year. It's going to be an interesting one, in life. Part of my success been here. It'll be 36 years next month that I've been hanging on, and you you got to have strong fingertips to see the times
Yeah, you
that
do.
you've envisioned, and don't get thrown from the bull. This year, the bull will do all it can to throw you. You have forced liquidations coming in silver by hedge funds that need to rebalance. The Bloomberg index got way out of whack when silver became a disproportionate gain in portfolios. By law, they have to rebalance that. But as they sell that to rebalance their portfolios and silver gets slammed, you have other hedge funds that's called the January effect that are coming in to buy and to buy in position. And then you have the Chinese are saying thank you, and the commercial banks who are stockpiling it saying thank you as the price drops. It'll look like a heart rate monitor. It's going to be very, very volatile. Hang on. You ain't seen nothing yet. And
Yeah,
that's
you
my
ain't seen
belief. But the volatility will be much more this year than last year.
diamond hands. Sit and watch it.
Don't watch it. Turn off the set and go do something productive.
That's
and
even better idea.
Come
Go
back and
plant a
look at it
garden.
in a few months.
Go
Yeah,
plant a garden.
right.
And send Andy
See, we can
your
do that in Florida and Puerto Rico, Mark. Those poor souls north of the Mason-Dixon line, well, they really can't do that these days, can they?
Yeah. Oh, you and I may
Hydroponically, maybe they could, and there's, a little hydro, but short of that, ain't gonna happen.
right. Yeah, it's Roy, just punch that in the old internet there and Chat GPT, value of a 1943 penny, see what you get.
I think, yeah, I don't know. That's beyond my scope of knowing, but type it in, and there's also mint marks on it. You want to look and see where the mint mark is on the penny. If it's like the gold and they don't have a mint mark, that would be Philadelphia, but I don't even think we mint them there anymore. So I don't know. I don't know. You have to check
Yeah,
that
that's
one out.
if anybody knows a good coin expert, I would love to have them on the show sometime.
I mean, I consider myself a coin expert, but only precious metal coins, not when it comes down to pennies and, and stuff like that. Mark, you need to sing.
I do. And you got to get out of here before I sing and I ruin your ears. So go call the wife, and I will send you and Tattoo a link for tonight for whiskey just in case.
Just in case. Appreciate
My
you.
expectations are low, but you never know when
you never know. I would like to, actually. Right. You take it easy.
All right, get out of here.
Bye, Mark.
Bye. Andy Schectman from Miles Franklin, very much appreciated. You leave the Miles Franklin part aside, and Andy is one of the most knowledgeable people on the planet. And unfortunately for many, has been eerily right about what is happening. Let's see. I'm seeing those birthdays right way. We had Duda. I'm totally going to mess that one up. A couple of birthdays. I'm going to sing, and I will be back. Tonight will be normal, though. 7 p.m., brief news segment, and then Whiskey and Wisdom at 8 Eastern with the usual cast of, suspects. So they tell me it's your birthday. Well, happy birthday, darling. May you live, may you love. All your dreams come true. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. To all those celebrating, happy birthday. Look forward to seeing you all this evening. Hopefully, we will get some lovely updates. I expect at least a bond update. Cross my fingers, cross my toes, hope finally. And see you tonight, guys.